Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to crack open 3 incredibly powerful lessons from Robert Kiyosaki's classic, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And we're going to zero in on the big ideas from chapters 5, 6, and 7. We're talking about inventing money, learning over earning, and mastering your own inner game. These are concepts that could totally change how you look at your financial future. Okay, so this idea, it's really the heart of the whole book. Kiyosaki's point is that success with money has less to do with your grades and everything to do with your guts. It's about having the courage to step outside the lines and take smart, calculated risks.
So, what does it actually mean to be bold with money? Well, it means making a fundamental shift in how you think. It's the difference between just being a passenger in your own financial life and actually grabbing the steering wheel. It's all about making that leap from working for your money to having your money start working for you. So how do we do that?
All right, lesson number 1. This comes straight out of chapter 5, and it completely flips the script on the idea that you have to trade your time for every single dollar. Kiyosaki says, the rich don't just earn money, they literally know how to invent it.
You know, this slide really gets at a huge difference in thinking. See, most of us are taught just one financial playbook, right? Work hard, save what you can, maybe take out a loan. But financial intelligence, as the book describes it, is all about having a much bigger playbook. It's about being creative enough to see way more options when a money problem or opportunity pops up.
And this is the big takeaway right here. This isn't about memorizing stock charts or crunching numbers. It's about training your brain to spot opportunities that are basically invisible to most people. It's the difference between waiting around for a lucky break and actually going out and creating your own.
Okay, so check out this diagram. It's a perfect real-world example of what we're talking about. In the book, Kiyosaki describes finding a rundown house for $20,000. Then he sells it for $60,000. But here's the clever part. Instead of the buyer getting a bank loan, he finances the deal himself. And just like that, he's created a $40,000 IOU, a note, that goes right into his asset column and starts generating income. That is inventing money.
And get this, by doing that same creative move just 6 times, the author generated over $190,000 in new assets that paid him every single month. This wasn't about having a 6-figure salary. Not at all. It was purely about seeing a deal where everyone else just saw a problem. All right, let's move on to our second lesson, which comes from chapter 6. Because, to pull off that inventing money thing consistently, you've got to have the right skills in your toolbox. And that means you have to start looking at jobs differently, not just for the paycheck, but for what they can teach you.
So this slide lays out 2 totally different paths you can take in your career. On one side, you've got the traditional advice: specialize, become an expert in one thing, and climb that corporate ladder for so-called job security. But on the other side, you have Rich Dad's advice: be a generalist. Learn a little about a lot so you understand how the whole system fits together.
Man, this one quote just says it all, doesn't it? One mindset is all about safety, predictability, playing it safe. The other is all about growth, learning, and being able to adapt to anything, because that's where true security comes from.
So what are we talking about here? What are these must-have skills? Well, you can see them here: managing cash flow, systems and people, sales and marketing, communication, negotiation. What you'll notice is none of these are about being the best technician. They're about knowing how to build and run the entire machine, whether it's a business or your own investments. And out of all of them, the book really hammers home that sales and marketing are number 1. And why is that? Because it teaches you the one thing most people are terrified of: facing rejection and learning how to communicate effectively anyway. No matter what you do in life, you're selling something: a product, an idea, or yourself. It's a foundational skill.
Okay, let's bring it home with our final lesson from chapter 7. Because here's the thing. You can have the financial knowledge, you can have the skills, but you can still fail if you don't get your own head right. The final step is all about mastering your own psychology. Kiyosaki points to these 5 things as the main reasons why even really smart people can't get ahead financially. It's not about what they know on paper. It's about what's going on inside: fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. They're like these little gremlins in your head, quietly sabotaging your success.
And this is such a huge point. It's not that rich people aren't scared. Of course they are. Everyone gets nervous about losing money. The real difference is what they do with that fear. Do they let it paralyze them? Or do they face it, learn from it, and get smarter because of it?
Which brings us to the ultimate tool for beating all these roadblocks: good old-fashioned self-discipline. The book flat out says this is the #1 thing that separates the rich from everybody else. It's the bridge that takes you from knowing what you should do to actually finally doing it.
So, okay, how do you actually build that discipline muscle? The book gives you one simple, powerful, absolutely non-negotiable rule. Pay yourself first. Before rent, before the credit card bill, before anything, you take a piece of your income and put it into your asset column. It's a total mindset shift.
And I know what you're thinking. This is the question that pops into everyone's head. But wait, what if I don't have enough left over to pay my bills? It sounds totally backward, right? Maybe even a little reckless. But this is where the real magic happens.
That's the whole point. That little bit of pressure becomes your secret weapon. Instead of your first thought being, oh no, what can I cut back on, or which savings account do I need to raid, your brain is forced to ask a much better, much more powerful question. Okay, how can I go out and create more income to cover this? That pressure is what lights a fire under your financial creativity.
So when you step back and look at all three of these lessons, inventing money, working to learn, and conquering your own fears, you start to see that they're all powered by the exact same engine.
And this quote right here, this is the core message of the entire book, distilled into one sentence. It's not your job, it's not your house. The single most powerful asset you will ever have is your own mind. Because a mind that's trained the right way can create wealth out of thin air and overcome pretty much any obstacle you throw at it.
And really, that's the idea I want to leave you with. Because at the end of the day, financial freedom isn't really about a number in your bank account. It's a mindset. It's a way of seeing the world. So the real question is, what are you training your mind to see? Opportunity or obstacles?